Are they still there?
But what, the
Your
program?
family? No, your family.
Yeah, my mom still there,
Okay.
lives there. I don't,
Yeah, you got out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to get out, but she's, stuck.
Yeah.
They don't want to move.
Yeah. So you came up in that era. You're a 70s, 80s baby.
Yes.
So it's obviously, it's a crack infested,
Yes.
wild ass neighborhood.
Yes.
You have Bradhurst, where they would dump the bodies in the buildings.
That's it.
We've had some Harlem cats on here.
Okay. Yeah.
So were you involved in that?
No, I was kind of young when all that was going on. I was a young man. Guilt by association, going to school. If your best friend joined the gang at the time, it wasn't the Bloods and the Crips at the time. It was Zulu Nation. I'm not even gonna call it a gang, but it was
An organization.
yeah.
A clique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. That was one of the things that was swamped, going through high school and everything. They had gangs like the Decepticons, Zulu Nation, and stuff like that. Yeah, so as far as the drug game back then and there, very minute part. Like I think I had to be like 15 years old before I even dabbled in selling drugs and stuff like that. And that didn't work for me.
Really?
No.
Really? So when crack hit, you tried your hand at it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, this is the way it is. You and I hang together all the time. See, you pretty tall. Say you're a basketball player, but I don't play basketball. But I'm with you I'm your best friend, this, that. So eventually, guilt by association, we need one more. So then, now I'm playing basketball.
Right.
So now, as far as the law goes, if anybody was selling drugs and you're hanging with them, your buddy, you might not have nothing to do with it. But if every day you're with them, and when they go shopping, they buy you sneakers, they buy you clothing, and they go to the club and you drinking and enjoying his criminal acts, then by guilt by association, you knew, you didn't run to the cops, you didn't tell them to stop, you was enjoying that. It's just like if you do it out your mom's house, when they come raid the homes, I've seen people with their mother handcuffed with her face to the ground because you were out there selling drugs. So that's me. I dabbled in it, a little bit. But, with me, the crackheads was coming up to me saying, listen, stop, go back to school.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's love.
Listen, it sounds kind of crazy. I didn't dive really into the criminal aspect of selling drugs until I became a law enforcement officer.
Wow.
And
well, save that. So, speaking of corrupt law enforcement, in the 80s, cops, every precinct had a number.
Yes.
And
the 30-30.
That's right. And if you got hemmed up, we talked to a lot of dope dealers on this show. And,
Okay.
They would say like, if their man got caught with a pistol, 10 grand, 15 grand to get him out of this precinct. You go talk to this cop. Dirty money it touched every part of New York back then. Were you aware of that as like a teenager? Did you know the cops that could be paid off?
I knew of cops. I don't know if I can say their names.
No, don't say names. But
I knew of cops that had crack houses that you knew that was his work. That was his, yes.
Wow.
And they were vicious in defending their territory. Right. Now, it's kind of like they couldn't be too territorial because you were law enforcement.
Right.
But, if you really look at it, if they wanted to bust, they knew who to bust. Everybody, it was no secret.
Right.
But they had their own crack house and was running their own drugs. And back then, if I knew that you were a cop and that's your crack house, I knew other people knew that just didn't.
Right.
No, because
Now, were they working with the cops, or were the cops just jacking, raiding other dealers and then taking their work and selling it off?
As far as I knew, what I heard, because I used to hang in a spot called a gambling spot where everybody shoots CeeLo and shoot dice. So you hear everything, you see, that's such and such. And, you learn as a kid and then, growing up, they would do raids and stuff in another barrel.
Right. And maybe shoot over to Queens and hit a house.
And then
take it back up top.
I'll tell you one thing, he never ran out of product.
He was never dry.
Yeah, he never ran out of product. But yeah, I knew about that.
What is the relationship between, well, then in the 80s, early 90s, what was the relationship between like good cops, right, or clean cops, and people of Harlem, black people?
I'm gonna tell you what I would call a good cop. You could be shooting dice, or you might be on the corner selling weed. He'll come and say, "Get off this corner," instead of just the normal take you in, throw the handcuffs on you, this that. I've seen a cop give somebody a spanking, like, "I know your mother."
Right.
Get off that. That is what you call a good cop.
Right.
Then there's, we all know the dirty cops. So,
well, what's the cop in between? The cop that isn't on the take, but he's brutal. Like he's Sean Penn from Colors, right?
Yes.
Comes up and puts the knee on your neck immediately and throws you up against the wall. Like, where does he fit in? Were there any of those guys?
Yes, I ran into a couple me and my friends, because back then they didn't differentiate as in these are the bad guys, these are the bad color guys, and these are the color guys that go to school, because we all played basketball. We all ran in the same neighborhood until the sun went down and people started doing their thing.
Right.
So I ran into a couple of cops that would harass us, and it wasn't even to arrest you. It was just to put that knee on your back and kind of like send a message that I'm walking this beat.
Right.
Now, and because in the neighborhood, they got some woman in the projects, and that they
smashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of know, but it's really not a big deal. It's like, oh look what we know over here. It's like, okay, that's such over there, and he's messing with such. So we know when he goes in the building, we know that it's all right, because he's going to be up there a while.
Oh, interesting. Now, okay, years later, when you were a corrections officer, did you feel like maybe you hated that cop back then, that tough ass cop who was mean, who put his hands on you, but did you feel when you became the law, the police, were you like, oh, I get it, you got to make sure these motherfuckers know who's in charge?
I had a moment, right? And I'm a brand new CO, fresh out the military. I was a Marine, so I'm pretty fit, and I was a big guy. So they have a intake area where all the inmates, when you get arrested, you come to Rikers Island, you come to the intake. So here it is, me fresh out the academy, wanting to be the best of the best, and I'm like, excuse me, gentlemen, excuse me, sir, can you simmer down? Can you be quiet? Sir, can I get a moment? Because I'm trying to get them quiet to give them the welcome to Rikers Island speech. Right. And nobody's paying any attention.
Right.
So all I hear is, can you curse on this?
Yeah.
If you I need to hear a pin fart and die. One of you mother up. So I'm turning around, and it's this little female, older CO that's giving them the business.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like this, like I'm the big guy. And guess what? They shut up. They stopped talking. Yeah. And right then and there, I knew that I had to set the tone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it went from me being, hey, gentlemen, you guys, to that was him. Y'all next.
Right.
And that's I hate to say it was because we had paperwork to do. We had work. I ain't got time to be sitting here talking to all y'all. So I already know. Smack one of them up. The rest of y'all gonna fall in line, because now you're here and it's not a game.
So smacking an inmate just to keep order was normal.
I saw somebody do it first.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. So it's routine for officers to put their hands on inmates.
I'm gonna say it like this. At the time, you do what you need to do to make your point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And of course, right now, Mothers of America or different advocate groups, you can't just be going around, even in the jail right now, and just putting your hands and doing what you want to do.
You got to be much more careful now. You could get in trouble.
Lawsuits, you lose your job.
Everybody's wearing body cameras.
Yes, and there's cameras everywhere. And it's so bad on Rikers Island right now that it's like the inmates got more rights.
Right.
Like they can, like I remember a time where inmates squirted feces in my face and everything.
No, bro.
And I'm like, let me take this badge off
Yeah.
But the camera was there.
Oh, I wouldn't care if the camera was there.
And I had a partner that got feces squirting his face. He took his shield off, went to the camera. Johnny Black, shield number 72, this, and that, hung it on the camera, and it went in there and just
put in work.
Yeah.
Damn. Come on. No, you're just human.
Yeah.
So let me get back though to your teenage years.
Okay.
How do people from Harlem feel, or we'll call them the Black community in general, right?
Okay.
How do people feel, about people from the hood growing up and becoming cops?
Okay. When I was growing up, poor, with holy sneakers, playing basketball and stuff like that.
5 doors, 3 previous owners, and a reverse parking camera, which meant you could finally parallel park in less than 10 moves. At AutoTrader, we know what your car is really worth. Join the millions who value their car with AutoTrader, Britain's biggest matchmaker. To verify, email brand@autotrader.co.uk.
We really didn't know we were poor because everybody was like that.
Right.
Until you start getting outside the circle to see that, we really was poor. So one of the things in the neighborhood is get yourself a city or state job.
Right.
Do your 25 years, get your pension.
Yeah.
While you doing it, get your home, move out the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And like a city or state job was quote for a better life. Everybody wasn't a good rapper. Everybody didn't have a jump shot.
Right.
Like Biggie said in his song. So
Crack rock or
exactly.
jump shot.
So you get yourself a city or state job, and if you law-abiding citizen, things will work out for you.
Right.
Put your kids through college.
Maybe we'll get a house in Jersey or out to Queens or something. Right.
And that's what.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
So it was respected. Like even the dope dealers, right? Obviously their enemy is the cops or certain cops. But if you are from the hood, grew up with these cats that are now out hustling, and you said, hey, I'm going to go to the Marines and then become a cop, they don't look at you like a traitor.
Some people did. Like, you got to understand, cops got a bad rap, right? Only because there's cameras now. Because cops have been being cops for a long time.
For sure.
But what I'm trying to say is, I didn't know that I was going to join the Marines right off the back. And then I definitely didn't know I was going to be a correction officer. Because it's like, when you're growing up, what do you want to be? Fire, doctor, lawyer, fireman, police. Nobody says I want to be a correction officer. Right. So when I went to the military and then came home to become a correction officer, it was a job. People look at it like you got to get it. You got to get a job to survive. Now, the people who have had bad run-in with cops and just hate police, like me and you, cool. I used to play basketball. We was in the same 3rd grade. Oh, but now you a pig. Now you're that. Yeah. And I don't like that. So that means that in your psyche, in your mind, you picked up that shield, knowing what your coworkers do. So now some of them have a disdain for you, right? Because when I got arrested, people who I thought I was all right with, was like, right. I hope he done. I hope he gets.
Wow.
What
yeah, exactly. So there's a tribalism between the criminals and the cops. Yes. Yeah, and even though you're cool one day,
because it's like once you put this shield on, like, let me just say this. I didn't walk into Rikers Island and say, you know what, my master scheme is I'm going to go through the academy, become a CO so I can sell drugs. That's not what it was. When you're doing this job, I don't care how cool you is, because I've had instances where I beat up my best friend for the sake of the job. Wow. So now you're in this, you're here. Now you don't know everybody. So the brainwashing is you're law enforcement now, who everybody else is inmate. He's an inmate, scum of the earth, low, and they want you to adapt that mentality.
Yeah, they want you to dehumanize them.
Yes.
So you can forget that they were once your friend.
Exactly.
And you can beat them up
if
if need be.
You know, some people do what the culture expects them to do. Like in Rikers Island, they teach you in the academy, I really don't like you. You really don't like me. But we're both correction officers. So we're already outnumbered. So I might not like you, but I'm not going to let no inmate whip your behind.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be having an argument with an inmate in the hallway, and I'm like, hey, I really don't vibe with him. But one of the things I'm supposed to do as an officer is stand there just to show support, to let that inmate know that me and you are together, and you run your mouth, you try to do something, we're going to pound you out, we're going to stomp you out. Yeah. That's
just what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why maybe it's necessary, but that's a scary proposition.
It is.
Because you're a big dude.
And they got dudes in there that all they do is lift weights all day and wait for the alarm to come so they can go whip some ass. They got gloves with metal inserts in them. And yes.
Wait, corrections officers?
Yes.
Wow, bro. Okay, so save this because this is wild. So when do you think those cats that grew up in the neighborhood, the hood, that grew up to become cops, wouldn't they want to like join forces with the cats hustling? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you see that as an asset? Like, like he's maybe even if you're not, directly taking money, maybe you come up to your boy who's moving weight and say, hey, there's, they're lining up to like raid. You should fall back.
Some people did that, but see, correction officers wasn't privy to police officers' information.
Right, of course.
Well,
what I'm saying is like, is there do people that grow up in places like Harlem alongside criminals who choose to become law enforcement officers, do they, when they come in contact with their old gang, right? Now, they're adults, he's a criminal, he's a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah.
Do the cops tend to look the other way, or do they collab with them? Or, what do you think?
It could go both ways, right? Self-preservation. We all in the hood, we all trying to get out. You got a wicked jump shot, you went off to school. I still know your mom, your sister, and everything, but you're over there in Kentucky, you're over there wherever, playing ball. Me, I'm not so lucky. So now I got the city or state job, my way out.
Yeah.
Being an officer, my way out. And self-preservation. I'm really trying to get my family out. So by every means necessary, and you're in my way. You're doing criminal activity. I'm gonna uphold this oath, this badge.
Yeah.
Not because I want to be super correction officer, because this is my job and this is my way out of the ghetto. Now, if me and you are super, super, super tight, of course, I'm gonna go into business with you. And
you know how in Departed, how the story of the Boston mob, they actually groomed one of their, one of the young Irish boys from the neighborhood.
Okay.
Helped him get into the academy.
Okay.
Helped him become a high-ranking officer in the state police, I think, just so they could use him to feed them information. You don't think black people do that, do you? Do they do crack dealers like raise young cats to become cops to then work with them?
Let me tell you something. There's been COs who been on the job a long time, and they raid their house and find kilos of cocaine in their wall.
Right. You still read about that. I read about that in the New York Post.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So interesting.
So
there's close parallels between, especially COs in the street.
Yeah, definitely.
There's real
because a
parallels.
lot of correction officers. I don't know about any other town, but a lot of correction officers come straight from the same neighborhoods as the criminals.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I wrote in my book, one of the things that they teach in the academy is you're not supposed to be associated with known felons and be partying and being around them. And it's like, okay, I'm from Polo Grounds, I'm from Harlem, or somebody might be from Brooklyn or whatever, and a 50-mile radius. Come on, you're lucky right now if you're walking in New York City with no felony or no police contact, so much as a loitering ticket or a desk appearance ticket. So if you're a millionaire if you don't have
right.
no contact
Of course.
with no
It's
police.
impossible.
Yes.
Yeah. So why did you decide to go to the Marines?
One of my best friends joined the Army. My brother, rest in peace, joined the Marines. This is when I was trying my hand at being a crack dealer.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. Why were you not a crack dealer? Why could the crackheads tell that that wasn't really your
because
bag?
you know, coming up, I was a clean cut kid. Went to school, played basketball. You know, now I still hung with people, older guys who were drug dealers, but everybody knew me.
Yeah.
They knew that. You never saw me stand on the corner pitching, selling, or nothing like that. So when my girlfriend at the time got pregnant, and I dropped out of high school, I had to do something. So I tried it because, like I said, back then and then, I don't know how the law was, but the younger you were, the less time you were going to get. So they would use us at the time, younger people, to pitch and be out there and take all the risks.
Yeah.
So it lasted. I think my drug kingpin run at that time lasted about 2-3 months because my girlfriend was pregnant with my son, and I had to get money. I was so ignorant about the game. Was I worked for like a month. I think I gave this guy like about 60 grand. So I'm thinking, if this dude give me $1,500, I could get the crib, I could get the sneakers. I mean, I get, set my kid up at the time. And I did that, and he came and gave me a hot $100.
For moving $60,000 worth of work?
Because I was...
What is that, like a brick?
Yeah. And I was in the crack house, new, brand new at it. Really, like, I took it serious, like I was working on an assembly line. Like I was really, like it was a really 9-to-5 legit job. Not knowing I'm making this guy rich. And I'm just thinking, like, in hindsight, I should have got at least 10 grand or something off of that. And I'm shooting for $1,500.
Yeah.
So that tells you how much knowledge I had about that. And when he gave me $100, that's when I was like, no. And then other crackheads that was out there looked at me leery. Like, come on, I know your mom. This is not you at all to be standing out here on the street. So right after I decided not to do that, I started getting other odd jobs. Then my brother came home from the military. Of course, mom said, he's out there in the street. So he took me down to the Marine recruiter. And that was it. I was reluctant, but at the time they was persistent, coming to take you to lunch and all that stuff. Yeah. So I took the little military ASVAB test June 3rd. June 6th, I was on that plane. I had nothing else going. Where'd they send you? Parris Island.
Where?
Parris Island, South Carolina. To boot camp.
Right. So you did boot camp, and then you served how long?
I served 6 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, and then I was stationed in California. I'm definitely a decorated war veteran.
Yeah.
So
did you go to Desert Storm? Okay.
Yes, I was in Desert Storm, Desert Shield. I fought in the whole war and everything. Made it home in one piece, and came home to being a security guard job until I took the test to be a correction officer.
Was that kind of a natural next step since you'd been in the military to go into some kind of law enforcement?
It wasn't, at the time coming from the military, it wasn't that many jobs out there.
Right.
Security guard, you're a big guy, you fit.
Yeah.
So, and then like I said, the thought process was still the same. Now you're back in the hood. Get yourself down, but you got the military behind you.
Right.
Law enforcement, a lot of military people go straight into law enforcement. Why not?
Right.
And I took the test to be a police officer, and it had a combined test. And I ended up, correction called me first. Yeah. Like, I'm just looking for a job.
Right.
It wasn't like I want to be a cop.
Right.
I'm just looking for a job. Correction called me first. That's where I'm going.
What year is this?
1997.
Okay. And you started immediately at Rikers?
Yes, they throw you right in there.
They throw you right into the zoo.
You get like about 2 days at the academy, and then they said, I guess it's like, okay, we really want to see if you're going to stick. We could tell you all the scary stories, right? but we want to see if you need to decide if you're going to be made for this.
Right.
And like the second day there, we went to Rikers just as a tour.
Yeah.
And I went to a place called HDM, and that's the closest thing that looked like Alcatraz. I'm talking about the tiers and the inmates hanging off the tiers. And I saw how inventive inmates can be. Like a 3-liter soda bottle can take some heat.
Yeah.
When they're trying to cook. I'm like, that's plastic, but it doesn't melt. That water will boil before that plastic will melt.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there and I was terrified.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was terrified. But I was more scared of being broke and not having anything. And then I'm seeing females walk around there, correction officers, and I'm thinking, you're in here with these dudes, these killers, this, that. Aren't you as a female? Like if in my hindsight, if I'm in here doing double life, I'm about to go up to do double life. Taking some from a female, what how much more time are you gonna give me?
Right.
And I thought about that. But if they could do it, I said, then it has to be a way.
Right. What was the pay back then? Starting pay to be a CO on Rikers?
I remember it was $27,000, bro.
Right. So even in '97 in New York City, you're not living in the projects, but it's not great.
Yeah. I was still living in the projects.
Yeah, you were. Okay.
But see, the thing is, with all these city and state jobs, it's not the base pay, it's the overtime that makes it what it is.
Worth it, right.
So I started in like June or July. And no, I started in June. By the time December came, because I was a rookie and I kept on having to do overtime, I made like 50 grand.
Just in overtime?
Just, because I never could go home.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was hungry, I was thirsty, so it was like I hated the overtime.
Yeah.
And that's what made it. So I never really just saw $27,000.
Right. Okay. So it's a good, working class wage.
Yes.
Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You're not playing against sharks and Vegas experts. It's perfect for guys like me, the lay sports person. I'm not a huge sports fan, but Prize Picks has made watching the game so much more interesting for me, of course, because you got skin in it, and it's a great way to make a lot of money very quickly. It's so simple and easy to play that even a casual fan can have fun. I have no idea why I waited so long. With the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. Want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? We know Schultz. You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks communities each week. Prize Pick even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Nobody else is offering that, you guys. Right now, go to prizepicks.com/connect and use code CONNECT, that's CONNECT, for a first deposit match up to $100. You guys, just for getting in the game, Prize Picks is going to match you $100. Why not? Why wouldn't you make some extra money during the holiday season? It's a great way to come up while enjoying the sports that much more. Again, that's prizepicks.com with the promo code CONNECT and get matched up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. What was that first couple of months like? Like, do you remember a time? Do you remember the first time where you crossed over when you went from like nice guy Gary, which you are, to having to, go to the dark side?
Yeah. Well, okay. There's 2 different dark sides. It's dark side like, okay, now I'm really going to be a CO, and I'm really going to put foot to ass and be that guy. Mm-hmm. Then there's the dark side when I said I'm going to start selling drugs.
Okay, tell me about the tough guy CO first. When did you have to pound somebody out?
Yes, and the first time I pound somebody out was my best friend. It was a guy who lived in. Me and his mother not me and my mother and his mother went to church together every Sunday.
Wow.
And
From the Polo Grounds.
yes. And it was weird because I'm just gonna say this. Rikers Island is notoriously known for all the vile, crazy stuff that go on there. But if you're in there, sometimes it's far and few between. There's 9 jails on Rikers Island. So something could pop off in jail number 1, you work in jail number 6.
Right.
Nothing didn't pop off in jail number 6 in about 6 months.
Yeah.
But the news and the media and the people here, Rikers Island, something happened
Right.
all the time. So I'm sitting there being a big guy, and it's called the alarm. You're sitting there in the lounge, eating your food, alarm sounds. Everybody that's eating the food are the ones that got to be the Orange Crush, the ESU team, to go down to save the correction officer that's in trouble.
Oh, right.
So the first time the alarm went off, right, the very first alarm, you know, by the time I got down there, it really wasn't nothing. My adrenaline was running. It really wasn't nothing. So I really didn't see no action. And people who are war heroes, now I'm not gonna say war heroes, but veterans who used to whipping inmates' asses and all that stuff, they would make jokes about people, you know, you ain't pop your cherry, you ain't, you know.
Right.
So now the first time I got to do something, like to try to prove myself, it was because another friend of mine came to jail. And
What was he in there for?
he's a, what is it called? Recidivism, when they keep coming back and forth.
Yeah, had a parole violation
Yes.
or something? Okay.
And
he was a drug dealer?
no, he was just like petty theft. He had jailed down to a pack where in the wintertime he commit a crime,
Oh, wow.
go there for the winter,
Oh, okay.
and come out in the summertime.
Oh, damn. So he was like a junkie probably.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but you know, me being from the hood, his sister had a fat ass, so I was smashing his sister. So he asked me to bring him a pack of cigarettes, which at the time I didn't think was nothing wrong because COs were smoking and they sold cigarettes in commissary, but he was just a bum. He didn't have no money to go to commissary. So I got the cigarettes from his sister, gave it to him. Come to find out, she had it laced with weed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And you played me.
Yeah.
So I vowed,
Right.
I'm never gonna get played again. Now I'm full-fledged CO mode.
Yep.
So now the alarm goes off. So I'm going down there, huffing and puffing. So as I get down there, like even inmates have this male bravado thing about females. Meaning, if you jump up and beat up a female officer, as a man, you still low and a piece of
exactly.
right? So as we running down to the area, we see a female wrestling with an inmate, and she got his hoodie pulled over his head. So you know, oh no, I know he's not fighting a female.
Yeah.
So we get down there, I get down there first, and we give him, we pounding, and I'm doing, you know, I'm getting my hits in, and people are seeing me, you know, in action for once.
You give him a stomp?
Yes.
Kick him and all that?
Right. And then she finally let his hoodie off. And I looked at her nose was bleeding.
Yeah.
So you know he's going to the hospital. Mandatory. You have to send him to the hospital to send a message to the other inmates. You put your hands on first you put your hands on an officer.
Yeah.
But if you put your hands on a female, you definitely going to get it.
Okay.
Mandatory.
So you look at each other and you say, all right, now it's time to like really put in work. We're sending this guy out on a gurney.
Well, once you see the female fighting with that's it. Like other inmates know basically that people spit in your face, you better chalk it up.
So you would pound guys out until you had to carry them out on a stretcher.
It wasn't just me per se.
No, but that happens.
Yes,
they beat people down until they have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, I've seen inmates hogtied and stuff because they hit COs, and because you got to realize, I still want to live, inmate or not. I just can't sit there and let you beat me up, you know. And some people's their mindset, their state of mind is, listen, bro, you put your pants on just like I put my pants on, badge or no badge. I'm not gonna just let you do what you want to do with me. So I'll take the ass whipping, you know. And so when you see certain things, some things is not taught in the academy, but it's an unwritten rule. Some officers had it where if you fight in the housing area, everybody getting their ass beat.
Wow.
Yes.
Who's beating their ass though? There's so many of them and only a few of you.
See, I never knew how, because at the same time, as a correctional officer, I had to watch 100 inmates.
Right.
And you walking in there with, on A side and B side, 50 inmates here, 50 inmates here, so they can beat your ass anytime. And here's the thing, me and you boys, I'm your partner. You're called the A officer, which you you open the cells, you fill out all the law books. I'm the B officer. I'm the one walking in there, looking in the cells, making sure nobody's making sure nobody's hanging themselves up, and making sure order is going on. But the thing about you, me and you, super cool. You got my back. If something pop off, I gotta hold my own. You might want to have my back, but you can't come in there and help me. You gotta watch me get my ass beat.
Why?
Because you have the keys.
Okay, right.
And if you run in there, now they got me and you both, because guess what? It's still 100 inmates. It's still 50 inmates.
And now it's a hostage situation.
Yeah,
they got the keys, and now they're running.
Now they can get out.
Yeah, right. Did you ever see that happen?
Yes.
Where did you have to watch a partner get beat down, or somebody else's partner get beat down?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I did dumb. I ran in there with the keys because you got a certain, like, you know who's really gonna pop off, because you got some inmates like, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Let me just do my time. They wilding, I'm over here.
Yeah.
So officers break that law all the time and run in there with the keys.
Yeah. No, okay, but you didn't tell us what happened with your best friend, beating your best friend.
Okay, what happened was she was wrestling with him. So while we got there, we pounded him out. He still got the hoodie pulled over his head. So I get my blows in till I'm tired. And the rest of the people come in and they still finishing pounding and stuff like that.
So does everybody take, like, all the officers get to put in work if they want?
Sometimes it'd be so many that everybody can't get in there.
Right.
You know, but you have to at least let them know that I'm willing to stand with you, brother officer.
Wow.
You know, against the inmates, because we're outnumbered.
Yeah, but it's like a gang. Like, hey, you better get in here. Give them at least a few kicks.
Guess what? If you don't, they're going to ostracize you.
Wow.
That pressure is there.
Wow.
That pressure is there.
So next time when you really need them, they might not have your back.
You know what? I've never seen them really just let an officer get his ass beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen some people think about it, you know, because it was a lot of, I really don't like you because you're having sex with the female officer that I want.
Yeah. So
we're really enemies, but at the same time, when it came to going against the inmates, it's like we had to stand together whether I like you or not, because guess what? I may need you. They may be whipping my behind, and I really don't need you to be in your feelings about some chick I'm banging.
Yeah.
And not help me or not call for backup or something like that. Right. So now the hoodie comes off, and I see him, and I'm like, I'm stuck. It's my best friend, and he's trying to defend himself and cover himself, and then he sees me. And when he sees me, he just stopped fighting. And he's looking at me. And they're pounding him, and he's looking right at me. Like our eyes locked, and he never stopped looking at me.
Oh my God.
And they going in, and once they saw that he wasn't resisting no more, they put him in the flex cuffs and everything, and he never stopped looking at me until they took him away.
Wow.
And I'm sitting here like, what the freak did I just do? you know, people pat me on my back. Yeah, you know, attaboy, you put in that work. You broke your cherry. You're really one of us now. And I'm like, if word get back to the hood that I did this to him, you know, I don't know how, because I still was living in the hood. I've yet to go get my own place. And
So you were going back to the Polo Grounds every night after work?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And one time, just like clockwork, I'm going in the building I live in, and I'm going to check the mail, and his mom come up behind me and give me a hug. And I'm like, how you doing? I'm just gonna say Miss Jones. And she's like, yeah, your best friend, he's back over there. And I'm sending him commissary. If you see him, you know, I know you'll take care of him and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting here like he is on his way he's in the hospital. Yes. And that was, see, that's one of the things in the academy. They tell you, coming from your neighborhood, you're going to see people.
Right.
You're going to see people that you know. Like, oh, that's where you're at. That's
what was he in there for?
Like I said.
Petty larceny and stuff like that.
He was on drugs.
Yeah.
But growing up with him, you grow up to a certain age.
Yeah.
Like I remember he saved my behind. I had bought when Nikes first came out, I bought a brand new pair of Nikes. I was getting jumped by a gang called the Ball Busters. It was a Hispanic gang up on Broadway. And they were trying to take my sneakers. And he came and helped me fight them off.
Right.
And we ran, but they didn't get my sneakers because he came and helped me.
And because you had those new sneakers on. Run fast.
And so that's why I knew what he felt.
Right.
That's why I knew what he felt.
So did you feel some kind of way then?
I felt up.
Yeah.
I felt up, but at the same time, had I not, like, even if I saw him and knew it was him, it was like I obligated to still put the beats on him.
Yeah.
And see, that's a battle with a lot of officers coming from the same neighborhood that the criminals come from.
Right. Now, are you obligated technically to go tell the administration if you know somebody in there?
Oh, yeah. That's definitely.
Now, did you do that with him?
Well, he never came back for a while after that.
Right. He was in the hospital. He spent the winter in ICU.
And then, but me and him had beef for a long time. He tried to kill me a couple of times.
Over that?
Yes.
And he tried to kill you?
He shot at me. I shot at him.
Wow.
This went on for a while.
Okay.
You know.
So you would see him on the street and you busted at him?
No. This is what would happen. I'm minding my business. And all of a sudden, ping, ping, rounds will be hitting the wall in the car. And then because I have a gun because I'm a correction officer.
Right.
And I shoot in the direction that it's coming from. And the only time I found out it was him, because he was a bum. Now, I'm not gonna say he was a bum, but he wore the same hoodie all the time. And I saw the hoodie, him running away, and I knew it was him. So it was on.
Wow.
It was on.
Wow. And that was over that incident?
Of course,
right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How often did you see people that you knew from the neighborhood at Rikers?
Every day. And they're going to let you know. They're going to let you know.
And was it ever love? Did you ever get excited to see people?
They teach you in the academy. There's the hood rules and it's the academy.
Because black folk love to.
Yes. But it's like this. If me and you super cool,
and
I know you're doing this, this is your job.
Yeah.
I should date your sister.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Certain people would know not to
make it obvious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then those are ones that will really get treated good. And if I was going to bring something in for you because you didn't blow it up.
Right.
Then there are certain people who are in survival mode in jail and going to let all of his other cronies know, I know Bob and his dad, he ain't all that and call you by your middle name or your street name and this and that just to get props from the other inmates.
Right. And to kind of embarrass you too.
Definitely.
So
that's when you got to make an example out of them.
Calling all daredevils. Hero Wars is where fantasy gets fierce, and only the sly survive. Outwit, outplay, and outlast in a world of myth. Got the nerve? Download Hero Wars. Take your shot at legend.
Wow. Did you have to do that?
I did
Did
it
you
a
have
few
to
times.
tell mother?
Yes, in front of everybody. Listen, in here, I'm Officer Haywood.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I didn't walk into the jail just criminal minded. Like I'm just going to do all this stuff. My job was my number one priority when I first got on the job. I was going to be a correctional officer. I was happy. I'm going to be able to get my own place. You know, be a grown man and take care of my kids and stuff. So anything that got in the way of that, I did my job.
Yeah. So it's 1997. You're growing into the gig. I just kind of want to paint a picture for people that don't know Rikers. What was it like? Now, Rikers Island is a city jail, and it houses how many inmates, roughly, at any given time?
Some jails got like 2,500 inmates in one jail, and you got 9 jails.
That's cool. So you were maybe 15, 20,000 inmates?
Yes.
Wow.
Easy.
And how many corrections officers?
Well, I'm put it to this way. You in some dorm areas, like I said, you got 100 inmates. You got 2 correction officers
It's wild.
that watch
Right.
100 inmates.
Yeah. And people are in there. Are they serving? A lot of people are in there awaiting trial.
Yeah, most of them are. You got one building called CIFM, C76. Those for people who got a year and under.
Right. And those are people serving what we call county bids,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah,
under
they're not
a year,
going upstate.
They're not getting penitentiary bids.
No.
Right. So did you find that those were the wilder places? Because people that are fighting their cases, if I got a murder beef, I got real problems. I don't
Yes.
have time to be
Exactly.
gang banging and slashing. So is that correct?
Yes, I started in what they call the community center. And those are for people who got a year and under.
Okay.
So, but let's not put nothing past them, because the first 4 months on the job, an inmate pulled a gun out in the jail and shot another inmate in that community center. Yes.
I've been doing this podcast a long time,
Yes.
and this is the first time that my mouth is agape. I'm speechless. What did you just? An inmate had a gun?
Yes.
That's some third world. You see that in prisons in like Ecuador.
No, I'm gonna tell you the story. Like I said, I'm CO Haywood, doing my job. And of course, inmates try to prove themselves to other inmates, and they talk stuff. But we all know you're in the community center. You know, you're not, okay, jail is jail, but you're not really doing no real time. You're doing about 6-8 months. Come on, tough Tony.
Yeah, you're not hard rock.
So I get into it with a guy, and I tell him, listen, I'm going to lunch. When I come back, I'm gonna take this badge off. Me and you gonna go in the bathroom. I'm gonna f you up, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I had every intention.
Yeah.
Because he was talking cash. So I go to lunch, and while I'm sitting there, and I'm telling my boy when I get back, so my boy's like, bet I'll come with you. The alarm goes off. So I was like, so we got to put on the protective gear and everything and go to where the alarm is.
Right.
Well, the alarm is in the housing area I'm working in. I just left this area.
Right.
So when we get there, you ever seen the cartoon where everybody's running down there and the first guy stops and everybody bumps into him?
Right. Yeah.
So we get to the housing area and the female officer opens the door and she says, she stuttered, she said, gunshots. I heard it was a gunshot. And the other inmates were on the bars wanting to get out of the area because they heard the gun, right? Now, those vests are stab-proof vests. They're not bulletproof vests.
Right.
So we're like, listen, I'm not going in there. You going in there? So the captain's like, we got to go in there, right? So I'm like, maybe it's just something loud she heard. It couldn't be no gunshot. So basically, one by one, we let the inmates out, pat them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn near strip search them. Put them on the floor, handcuffed them.
Yeah.
One by one. We got all of them out. So then now, none of these guys got a gun on them.
Mm-hmm.
So we go inside now, and we see an inmate laying on a bed with a gunshot wound to his thigh. And he says, somebody shot me. And right then and there, I think I had like 4, maybe 5 months on the job. Right then and there, I'm like, I know I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. And yeah, he's there. Medical team come. Really, not a stab wound, not a self-inflicted. It was a gunshot.
Wow.
So now,
Where's the gun?
everybody's there, tearing the whole ceiling,
Yeah.
wall, and everything. So we move a locker, and there's a small P380 gun.
Wow. And are those the ones that only hold like
About 6 bullets,
yeah, a
or
few
maybe
bullets.
something like 4 at
Right.
the time. And I'm like, a gun.
Yeah.
Like I wrote this in a book. That was the first shocker. Because you know, when you come from the academy, you really academy trained that everybody's upholding the law. Nobody's going to be doing that. But see, in the academy now, in hindsight, when I look back, the instructor was like, "Listen," they said, "Don't. If you give them a stick of bubble gum, you'll bring them in a gun. If you give them a cigarette, you'll do this and that." So they kept on beating you down in your head, and I was like, "Well, why do they keep on? Like, who would do that?" Like,
Right,
you're thinking,
right.
who would bring in contraband?
Yeah.
But the instructors know it. They probably been there. It happens. We know it happens. So we try to. Y'all don't know what happens.
Right.
We know it happens all the time.
So they get this guy out of there.
Yeah.
The medical team gets this guy out of there.
Yeah, and then we search.
Found
and we
the gun.
Find the gun. Now, I'm gonna tell you the insight because we found the gun. Of course, is inmates' fingerprints on it. And when they do the big investigation, what it is okay, we know somebody smuggled the gun. What it was these inmates were trustees that would go outside. Like Rikers Island has a parking lot for visitors, and you go and you try to sign to go visit who you're going to visit, and then there's a bridge that goes over. These trustees were the one to clean the parking lot out there. So if you're a trustee, somebody dropped them that gun, and an officer dropped the ball and didn't search him because they probably been there for so long.
Right. Yeah.
And
They've earned some trust.
And he got the gun in there. What I found out later on, what was found out was the inmates smuggled the gun in and shot the inmate. It was all planned to get a major lawsuit from the city. Like, how you let me, because the correction officer creed is care, custody, and control.
Right.
How did you let, how did a gun get inside Rikers Island?
Yeah.
A gun.
Yeah.
So me and all my New Jack buddies is like, we shocked. But the senior officers, because they seen stuff before.
Right.
So now my gears is grinding like, yo.
What's happening?
Like
who can I trust?
And guess what? And guess who was the inmate who shot him? The inmate I said, I'm gonna come back and bust your ass. And I'm sitting there. He had a gun on him, and I'm talking about taking you in the bathroom and putting the beats on you. He had the gun.
Imagine that.
And he popped him.
Wow.
Now, what I found out on the back end was, now, I'm not saying she did anything, but I found out there was a certain female that he was her baby daddy.
Wow.
That don't mean nothing.
Did she ever get arrested?
No.
No? They couldn't prove
No,
that
that was
she was
underground
she wasn't
CO
involved in
talk.
it. Okay, gotcha.
You know.
So look, it turns out that a CO didn't smuggle in a gun, but as we know, and I'm going to talk about that now, stabbings, shankings, slashings are normal on Rikers. They call it a $150.
Yes.
Tell us what a $150 is.
A $150 is when an inmate takes out a razor blade, preferably spit it out his mouth.
Yeah.
And he cuts another inmate on the side of his face.
Right.
And it goes from his chin all the way to his ear.
Oof.
And I've seen instances where you could see an inmate's teeth.
Oh.
And the way it's how fine, according to how fine the blade is, they don't immediately open up.
Yeah.
It's
a slow split.
Yes. And then, especially if you get to talking.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes they come and if you get to the clinic soon enough, they'll try to forget a Band-Aid, they probably try to put some tape on there to keep it together.
Right.
But eventually it spreads, and then that's when you get that keloid,
And they call it $150 because
Yes.
they say it's like
150 stitches.
Yeah.
You get to sew that thing up.
Is there a protocol when somebody gets stabbed? Well, first of all, tell me how a razor like that. I know obviously, inmates make shanks with, whittled down toothbrushes. You can make a shank with a piece of paper. There's many, many ways.
Yes.
But how does somebody get in, a razor like that? Are knives brought in by COs?
A lot of stuff is brought in by COs.
You can be candid.
Listen, of course it is.
Mm-hmm. So what is the incentive for a CO to bring in a razor for somebody?
Now, I'm going to tell you like this. Once I was in full-blown drug dealer mode as a CO, my mentality is just like the streets. If I own a block, if I'm running drugs on a block, I don't want nobody getting shot or anything, fighting, doing, because you bring the cops, you stop my money.
It gets hot, yeah.
So I never brung in no weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that don't mean that they didn't jump people and do fisticuffs. So I don't know why, just like, why would a CO bring somebody a gun in? And I learned after I went to prison, and this is why I be saying the stuff that I'm saying now, I bring a gun in, and like I said, I'm telling this guy, I'm gonna f you up. He got a gun. Whoever brung him that gun, forget the inmate, let me really at this, popped him and started beating his ass. That could have been me, right? So some females, when they're in love, they I'm not gonna blame it on all female correction officers, but I don't know why a CO would bring in a weapon, scaffolds.
What is that?
A scaffold, like a
scalpel.
surgeon.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you get the New York accent.
Yes, that's
Yeah, you get the Harlem accent.
Yes.
Yeah, scalpel. Okay,
yeah, scalpel, and
is it gang beef?
Definitely.
Do people pay? Would you like I pay a guard maybe if I was like the leader of whatever the Trinitarios?
You could pay
or whoever.
You could pay to get a guard to bring in. That's not new news.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
but I'm especially curious, like, who is what I guess would be the most. What's the unit or the jail on Rikers that tends to have the most slashings and stabbings, and what is that over generally? Is it gang beef or is it just because people are criminals?
A lot of times it's gang beef, right? But at the same time, it could be just survival. Right. I'm not gonna let you take my sneakers. I'm not gonna let you take my stuff. Or over the telephone.
Oh yes, tell us about this.
Over the telephone. The telephone, you got to realize, mail, visits, and the telephone is my eyes to what I'm not seeing. If I got slot time, and you come in and you want to get on the phone, or you on the phone over the time allowed it, I need to get my shit off. I need to talk to my woman.
Yeah.
I need to talk to my homie to know what's going on out there. Right? And that becomes a part of my life.
Right.
My time is 8 o'clock. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And
to take that away from a person causes somebody to get incredibly angry.
Yes.
Right.
That phone can get you killed.
Right.
In Rikers Island. Like I said, one of the most dominant things that a person can do is come in a housing area, take the phone off the receiver, put it in his back pocket, throw a blade or a homemade shank in the middle of the floor, and tell everybody in there, I'm in cell number 18. That means that if nobody comes challenge me, that phone is mine.
Wow.
Now, whoever used that phone got to pay me to use the phone, got to get my permission to use the phone, got to give me commissary to use the phone, or we fighting.
Holy. With razors.
With razors or whatever.
Holy.
And sometimes some people pick up that blade, because if I got to talk to my wife, if I got to talk to my kid, if I got to talk to, listen, my 2-year bid would turn into 20 over that phone.
Wow. So what would, I'm curious about that. What does a bid become when you see people that get rearrested? Say I'm in there I got a dope case, right? And I go in there and I got to defend myself with an ox and I stab somebody. Like,
it's just like going to trial. Was it self-defense?
Right.
Did he try to you?
Right.
Then first, how'd you get the weapon? We don't care about you.
Right.
So now you was harboring a weapon. First charge.
Right.
Then they change your ID to a red ID because you're a predicate cutter. Like you're known
interesting. So if you get caught slashing somebody,
yes, you got a red
mark
ID.
You. Oh,
so that means that now we know. Okay, because you ever heard that saying? Everybody got a gun, ain't shooting it.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people just bluff you a lot.
Yeah.
The red ID means that he will open your face up. Wow. He will pick up a weapon and he has assaulted an officer.
Right.
So he's one of them. Like I don't give a shit about none of this.
Right. So did you remember officers getting slashed?
Yes.
Did that ever happen?
Yes.
Oof.
Officers got slashed, going to hospital, face cuts.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I imagine they must, if you slash an officer, you're getting pounded out.
Oh, you're getting pounded out. You're getting extra time.
Yeah.
On your bed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's certain things that you're going to the hospital. That's mandatory. That they didn't say it in the academy, but you have to set precedents. Just like I told you in intake. I'm sitting there, gentlemen, could you be quiet? And then a CO comes smack one, pow.
Yeah.
Everybody's quiet.
Yeah.
Now I got your attention. Am I supposed to put my hands on you? No. Do I got your attention? Yes. Right. So now you assault a female, go to the hospital. You got to send a message. Some officers want peace and quiet in their dorm or the area that they're working, so they're known for putting the beats on people who don't have nothing to do with the altercation. They over there fighting over a pack of noodles, right? The squad comes in, everybody getting smacked, stomped, and beaten, this, and that, because we know we don't want no fighting in here. So guess what's going to happen? The next time somebody's squabbling over a pack of noodles, I really don't feel like being locked in. I got to get on the phone to talk to my wife. So we going to handle it
internally.
Here, take a pack of noodles.
Right.
Or I'm going to you up if you mother get to fighting.
Right.
And I get locked in.
Ah, that makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Sense. So that's the...
When would they send... So tell us about the squad. Like the goon squad with the riot gear.
Okay.
Like when is that deployed? That
deploys every time a correction officer they got a body alarm.
The body alarm, okay.
And if I'm in distress, I got a problem, I'm getting assaulted, they tell you in the academy, you better do the cockroach and be on your back and be fighting, but press that alarm. Like you always got to have that body alarm on you. That's your lifesaver.
Right.
So you always got to have that body alarm on you. You press that and it's in, it rings the alarm. And any available officer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have nothing but females.
Oh, God.
That's coming to save your ass.
Can you imagine that? You're like, oh, Jesus, what did I do to deserve this?
And so that's the method of isolation. Don't run on the floor to save me.
Yeah.
Because who's going to let the squad in to really save us if me and you both are getting our ass beat?
Right. Right. So is the riot squad or the squad, are they a separate just arm of the COs?
So, okay, you have something called ESU, Emergency Service Unit. Those are officers that train every day, tactical, do all kind of whatever, and their job is to come to the jails that are out of control, rioting, blah, 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 and maintain order. So they're specifically trained. Now, in the immediate event that we need people to come right now, immediately, those are just officers in the jail that's available. It could be me. I'm in party all night and I'm drunk sitting there trying to sleep, and now you need me to come help you fight somebody from beating your ass.
Yeah. So those tactical teams, would there ever be like raids on cells planned out?
Yes. When I was in full swing of being who I was, I would get calls from people in security. Listen, they're coming to you. It's called a TSO, Tactical Search Operation. And they say, okay, in this jail, we've been finding drugs a lot, or we've been finding a lot of weapons, or they've been fighting a lot over here, or we got a stabbing or a cutting. Yeah. So when that happens, then they get officers from all the jails, like you in jail number 1, 2 through 9, we gather officers to come, and then we search the whole jail and beat up, smack up inmates and tear up their cells and all kind of stuff, trying to find weapons and all. So just sending a message through. Now, if they hear particular housing area, this is how I know I was going to get caught because.
Okay. But save it though, because this is a big climax.
Okay. So they will come to your housing area, not the front way, but the back way. Because you're used to coming to the front way. You the only one got the key. You buzz them in, you let them in, boom, they come in, they search the inmates.
Yeah.
So I will get a call that, they're coming to your area. And not so much they're calling me to notify me, hide your drugs and stuff. Like, don't be sleeping and don't be doing something that you're not supposed to be doing.
Right.
So be on point.
Right.
Because they're coming to search your area. So I'll tell my officer, listen, they're coming.
Right.
Like that. To my officer, not the inmate. And then he'll be on point like he's really doing his job. And then they'll come in there and they'll search.
Exactly. You just don't want to get in trouble for slacking off.
Yes. Me, I took it as, let me take my drugs and hide it in the ceiling in the officer station.
Right. Okay. So when you were there, late 90s, what kind of drugs? I know now fentanyl, dude, like every week somebody at Rikers is ODing on fentanyl. What were the drugs back then in the late 90s? The most common ones on Rikers.
It was it wasn't weed because weed has a distinctive smell. Right. It was crack, it was coke, it was heroin.
Yeah.
They were I could mail somebody a letter, put heroin in the stamp.
Yep.
And they'll get high off of that.
Yeah. How do you smoke crack in jail?
They make their own pipes.
They're ingenious.
They'll make their pipes, and they'll get their shit off.
Yeah.
And they'll be high as a kite. And you, like me being from the hood, I know what crack smells like.
Right.
Walking in the exit, walking in the building, walking in the lobby, and you'll smell it. And then you go down there, and now, because it's like, okay, I know I'm going to get busted, but I'm going to get high before they catch me.
Right. And what if you catch a crackhead smoking?
It's really nothing you could do, especially give him more charges.
Right. No.
And then if he smoked it all, what evidence do you have?
Right.
But I just know you're high.
Right.
So it was throw them up in the cell, lock them in his cell.
Right. Were there any ODs back then, like on heroin?
Couple of them.
Yeah.
And see, all this, like after the gun shot in there, that I knew it was on. Somebody's doing something. Right. So heroin, this and that. Some of it comes through the visit floor, but it's like you start to learn how to read the jail. Monday and Tuesday on Rikers Island wasn't no visits, right? So how is it this? You still got somebody blessing you.
Yeah,
you just ain't holding all your stuff that was smuggled in from the visit.
Right.
So these are the things that I learned.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
To watch out for.
So here we go. You are, now seeing the realities of what it is, what this jail is, what the job is, what the life is. How did you get? Well, before we get into your story, did you see any corrupt guards, your coworkers? Before you got into it, did you see anybody get arrested before you got into it? Or what was your introduction to it?
First of all, in the academy, don't bring nothing in. Don't give them a stick of bubble gum.
All right.
Don't talk to them too long because they just picking your brain, right? So I had seen what was called senior officers. That means officers that have been in the jail years, 10 years and all that stuff. They would have special inmates. And I would see them in the morning, a breakfast sandwich, slice of pizza, accidentally throw it in the garbage that the inmate is cleaning. And I see the inmate go get it and like you take out the garbage and listen, I saw it. But and at the time, if that's what you want to do,
right?
Hey, that's on you. So that was my first sign that I saw somebody do something like that.
Yeah. Getting friendly.
Yes.
Getting friendly. Right.
Now, Mayor Giuliani, I think, stopped cigarettes in all city buildings.
What year was that? Like late 90s, 2000 maybe?
Yes. About something like 2000, 2001. What it was is he did that in for the city itself.
Yeah.
Like you could be a secretary in a city building, you can't smoke.
You can't smoke.
Jail is a city-owned establishment. So no more cigarettes in the commissary.
Uh-oh.
So when there's no more cigarettes in the commissary, it's
money
a hot
being made.
commodity.
That's right.
Now, I can't go to jail because cigarettes aren't a drug in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Officers are still smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, my buddy, I bought him a thing of cigarettes. It was laced with weed and
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
So when I saw the dude with the pizza and stuff like that, and then it's certain inmates that have certain personas about them. And it was a certain inmate, I remember his name. His name was Divine. I'm not gonna call another man Divine. But
Yeah.
so he had literally in his cell silk sheets in his cell. He walked around with gator shoes on. Because you gotta remember, in Rikers Island, you're going to see if you go to jail. You're going back and forth to court. So you're wearing regular clothes.
They don't make you wear like
green,
the
that's only if you doing the a year and under. Then you'll wear
county bid,
Yes.
the county stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, county blues. or
otherwise than
whatever.
that, you wearing your regular
Wow.
stuff. That's why people get their sneakers took and all kind of stuff.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's spoiled.
Yeah, whatever you got arrested in, that's what you wearing until your family send you a tracksuit or
Dog, I had to fight in sandals, in plastic sandals they gave me,
Yes.
bro. What?
yes.
That's wild.
Yeah, so you got your, and if you had,
So you could be fly in there.
Yes.
You could be walking around fly for
and
a
the
year,
flyer
bro.
you are, the more hierarchy and on the
Right.
gang, because how is you walking around with gold chains on and gold
Right.
teeth and
Right.
Jordans
Right.
and nobody's trying you,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So this guy named Divine had all this stuff in his cell, always had commissary, always was smooth and
Yeah. He had-
quiet.
Yeah.
And a female CO will always come get him and take him on strolls through the jail, you know, and bring him back. And nobody said, "What are you doing? Who's that?"
Mm.
And it was like known. But I'm the new guy just watching, keeping my mouth shut because it's odd to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I'm from the street. I know you got to be somebody if the officers, and it's not even like she's risking her job because it seemed like other officers, "Hey, Devon, hey, how you doing?"
Wow. So this cat had the juice.
Yes. Yes. He was a pimp.
Sounds like it.
He dressed like a pimp.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my first signs of like when you're really getting to know the job to know what's corrupt and what's
Yeah.
allowed and what's
Right.
not allowed.
Right.
Come on, you're giving them pizza.
Yeah.
They're getting cigarettes. And this guy's getting carte blanche, being walked through the whole thing, and then his cell stay open. Nobody goes in there to steal nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you know,
Right. Fascinating. Who knows what was going on with that, huh?
mm,
So, but now that cigarettes are illegal, do you start to see your coworkers making money, bringing it in? Did you see the trade develop?
I saw one guy. He was a dumbass. All right, I'm not gonna call him. He's cool. I saw one guy get in trouble. I just call him a dumbass because the way he did it. Now, in hindsight of how me becoming who I became, I did my dirt by myself,
Mhm.
right? I didn't want to include nobody. I didn't trust nobody. It's not like, yo, you gonna get in on this with me?
Right.
It was just never like that,
Mhm.
right? So, he did something dumb, like take some cigarettes, throw them in a garbage can, right? Like the guy with the pizza, but you did it with officers who like wasn't with it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you come in my area and throw something in the garbage can?
Right.
And then a dumb inmate was wilding, going crazy, trying to get out of his cell to get to that garbage can. So he blew up the whole situation where the officers like, well, what? What's in the garbage can? Then when they go and they see cigarettes and they remember the dumb guy.
Yeah. Did he get in trouble for that?
Yes, he lost his job.
Okay, so that's what would happen if you got caught bringing in cigarettes. You'd lose your job.
Yes.
But they wouldn't charge you.
No.
Okay, because I
No.
know in the feds they do. I mean, it's real small time, but they do.
But
They're
now-
charging COs now.
Now, because at the time, it happened, but it wasn't rampant.
Right. So how did you get into doing what you did?
What happened with me was I was going through a divorce.
Mm-hmm. How many years on the job now are you?
I think I had like
this
2
time?
years.
Okay. So you stayed clean for about 2 years.
Yes,
Okay.
for the most part.
Okay.
So I was going through divorce, and I got hit with child support. My check was shredded.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I was losing everything. Car getting repoed. At the time, I had got me a place. Had to move back with mom.
Mm.
You know, of course, whoever goes through child support, they already know how these judges can be at that time about child support. So I was desperate. Now, mind you, I've been propositioned already. Yo, Haywood, yo, come on, this, that. And, you know, me being the upstanding,
Yeah.
I'm not jeopardizing my job,
Yeah.
you know. And when Mayor Giuliani stopped cigarettes from being in the jail, it opened up a whole market. Like Tops Tobacco at the time was $2 for a pouch.
Yeah.
I would charge an inmate $300
Right.
for a
Right.
pouch.
Right.
Now, you might think that's kind of extensive, but nobody's smoking. So if you take one little rollie that you made from Tops Tobacco and sell it for like $20, you're eating in commissary like forever with
Right.
$20.
That's right.
And a person who got that nicotine,
Yeah.
he's smoking. He's going to take a couple of puffs and put that out.
Yeah.
Take a couple of puffs and put that out. So
Yeah.
that's life. That's everything to
That's
him.
right.
So they're beg, borrow, and steal
Yeah.
to get you that money. Have their wives, their family member put money in your commissary for one of those rollies.
Right.
So me, I'm not going to sell no rollie. I'm getting a quick flip.
Of course.
Give me $2 pouch. You give me $300.
Who was the first guy? Who were the first groups of guys or guy you were working with?
There was one guy I was working with because I knew his family. Like, listen, it's not like you're going to get resumes and say, you know,
Obviously.
choose. So it was somebody I knew from the street,
From the neighborhood?
from the neighborhood, and he had short time,
Yeah.
right? But his family wasn't looking out for him. So I was desperate because of child support, right? I was nervous. I was afraid. I didn't want to lose my job, but I had to do something.
Mm-hmm. And he's desperate too.
Yes. So the first thing I did was bring in like 2-3 packs of tobacco. Gave it to him. That was $900.
$900 just like that.
Right?
Cost you $6.
I'm nervous. I'm afraid because let me explain something. Before I really went to the dark side, I still really wanted to do good. But at the same time, survival, self-preservation, and the opportunities, they've been there. I just never took them up on it.
Yeah.
And when I did it the first time, sweaty palms, dripping sweat, because guess what? People knew I didn't smoke. So even seeing me with some cigarettes, right? So I had it in my vest. And when I made the trade-off, I'm sweating. I'm sitting there nervous all day. Like,
Hang on, let me stop you. They don't search guards going into work?
okay, it's that brotherhood
Right.
in blue. Why would I ever think that you would be doing something like that?
Right.
Even though gang intel and the Inspector General, we found pouches, we found this, we found drugs, and so we know it's going on.
Right.
It's just I don't know you doing it, and you don't know I'm doing it. So
And it's very awkward. If I got to work with you every day and we're cool, now I got to be like, oh, Gary, I got to search you. That's weird.
so now they never search you, like pat you down.
Right.
But you got to run your bag through the magnometer.
Right.
You got to step through something.
Yeah.
Now, me, once I learned the craft of what I was doing, I wouldn't come in regular clothes. Because, you know, some officers come in regular clothes. You got to check your gun in the armory.
Yeah.
And you got to go put your bag through there and run through there. If you beep, if the officer's really gung-ho, you got to clear it and take your pedal off and all kind of stuff. But if you came fully in your uniform, with your belt on, your badge, ready to work. Beep, 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 I got it.
Right. Of course. So you had the tobacco. You were already in uniform
With the tobacco, and they made it mandatory that you had to wear the staff blue vest. So
even easier. Yeah.
no, and I was a big guy.
Right.
So
And so you met, and were there the same amount of cameras back in like 99?
No.
There are less cameras,
Less
so
cameras.
it's easier to hand it off. Where do you meet the guy?
well, in the housing area.
Yeah.
Well, working. I'm
Yeah.
the one because in the morning, I'm there by myself, and I'm not supposed to let the inmates out until my other officer come,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the morning, I got trustees.
Yeah.
That's my guy. I crack his cell. He goes like he's mopping and stuff. The other inmates will never sleep, so we would go off to the side where I know they can't see, make the transaction.
Yeah.
And once you know there's no cameras,
You know, the blind spots. Yeah.
it wasn't no
Right.
cameras.
So, and then how does he get the money? Does he have to sell it first, or does he have somebody on the outside
Listen,
wire you the
I don't
money?
deliver nothing until I get paid first.
Right. So you already had the money.
I already had the
Of
money.
course.
I was better than UPS.
Great. Great.
Like I would meet their sister, whoever,
Yeah.
this and that,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I would have a crackhead. I would have this family member, Western Union. At the time, it was Western Union.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
this Cash App.
Now it's Venmo. Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So I would have Western Union money to a crackhead.
Yeah.
I get a crackhead $10, use your ID, get it,
Mm-hmm.
get my $300 or whatever I'm getting, and then the next day I'll just walk in there and give him a pouch.
Okay.
And then however he get it off,
Yeah.
my rules, if you got caught with it,
That's you.
that's
Right.
and come on, they'll break it down to something called fingers
Yeah.
and gloves
Yeah.
and the jail network.
Ingenious. Yeah. So, and how often then did you start? $900 is love. How often were you starting to do that?
Well,
And
at
how
first,
did that turn into drugs?
Okay, at first, I only did it when I really needed to pay a bill, when I really needed
Right.
something. When that first time went over and nobody jumped out and arrested me, nobody said, aha, I didn't get caught. And the nervousness started going away.